Grab you a cup of coffee, and today we are going to be talking about how our family does homeschooling through the holidays. Hey everyone, I am super excited to do this video today because I look forward to this video every year of talking about homeschooling, especially at the holidays, because holidays can be so difficult. You can get so overwhelmed with the extra cleaning, the extra cooking, grades due at the end of the semester, and how to do all of that. And especially with having 3 in high school this year, it's been a little bit of a challenge. But I do want to give you a little bit of an update of how we're doing things a little different this year. So first of all, as of yesterday, we found out we're actually hosting Thanksgiving at our house this year, and that is because my mother-in-law had a heart attack this past weekend. And it's been really scary, and a lot of things just going on and changing the plans all of a sudden, because we were planning on going and traveling and staying overnight with somebody and having Thanksgiving at their house. And now it feels like everything's just kind of... So now things are a little bit different. So I wanted to go ahead and now this year, instead of my video being focused on how we're traveling and doing holidays, this year I feel like it's going to be more, we're probably going to be staying home most of the holidays, not doing any extra traveling. We had some travel plans for Christmas. That's probably going to get changed now because she also had a cancer diagnosis with all this. So things look kind of different this year than we really wanted it to be. I didn't want to discourage you guys or be all negative, but that's just kind of where we are. Is it's a little different this year because we're just completely doing stuff from home. But first for my mother-in-law, because it's kind of a rough season right now. But let me get to the purpose of the video. So like I said, homeschooling through the holidays, last year's video was all about traveling during the holidays. This year it's going to be more at home. I did write some things down just because I need a little more help focusing right now, because my mother-in-law means a lot to me. If you know Bible terminology, she's my Naomi, I'm her Ruth, so that's just kind of how it's been. But let me get to this. Also, I'm at the desk because I'm sitting here. I have my Thanksgiving timesheet up, and we always have a Thanksgiving timesheet every year anyways. It's just normally we cook for what we'll do is we'll buy Thanksgiving food, and then we'll cook at home after we get back, and then we just eat off of that for the whole weekend, because we don't stay the whole Thanksgiving week. When we usually stay the night before Thanksgiving and then wake up and cook there, and then we come back that night. This year we're doing everything at home, so I need to go back over my timesheet, make sure I have everything on there that we want. And tomorrow is my big shopping day, so the next day, or the next couple of days, or the next couple of videos after this, you'll see our Aldi and Walmart Thanksgiving haul, our Sam's Club Thanksgiving haul. What else? Hopefully you'll see a kitchen clean with me, and maybe a day in the life, and then upcoming we'll have our Christmas box reveal, which is something that we do for our kids every year the day after Thanksgiving. Used to be we did it on Christmas Eve, and if you give the kids pajamas on Christmas Eve, yeah, they're new on Christmas Eve, but then they only get to wear them for a couple days and then they get packed down. So we switched to giving our kids Christmas pajamas day after Thanksgiving. So I'll go through everything that's going to be in that box this year. But yeah, I'm kind of looking at timesheet while I'm doing this and trying to multitask. But I do have notes that I've written down, and I really, really do need the coffee today, because if you can hear. So last week we were clearing leaves in our driveway, because our driveway is a slope, and when the leaves fall on it and then it rains, the driveway is impossible to get up because the leaves cause us to not have as much traction. No, it doesn't matter what kind of tires you have on it. When you have huge soaking wet leaves on a slope, difficult to pull up. So we started working on it, and then because just other stuff going on, my immune system just crashed after doing that, and it's been fun. So I'm a little bit clogged today. Point number 1 that I have on here for the notes is this one may be a little late for this year, but you could put it on there for next year. So beginning of the school year, I will actually sit and write out a schedule of through December. When I will start in July, and I'll write our August through December. Now when I say schedule, it's loose. It's like, this week we're probably going to do this week we're probably going to do this. There's some classes that I do schedule out, like Chemistry 101 has a plan. The Hillsdale College U.S. History Reuse has a plan. But then some of them, like math, I just give them time frames to do that in, and that's the only class that I do that in. Literature I do have planned out, but I also have a Google Doc for that one, that for each child, that keeps up with what video they're on, have they turned it in, what grade did they make, have they watched the video for it. So like that one's a little bit more, but this one's kind of like an at a glance. That way I can kind of try to put everything together. Like I could put, does this health go with this? And I love grouping subjects together. So like I try to put the history with the literature and try to group them together as much as possible. But then in November and December, I try to give them less to do, because in reality they don't, and I'm going to get to this in a minute. In reality, they don't really have to do every single subject every day. And one of the things I tell people is like, well, they have to. Okay, think about what public schools, I mean, like, you're not public schooling at home. You are homeschooling at home. But think about public schools and how they function. This time of year, think about like when you were a kid and all the times that like you had, you know, Christmas assemblies and Christmas assembly practice, and you had choral and drama and band and all that. And like they would take time off for that. You're not doing classwork while that's being done. You're doing the assembly instead. So, I mean, in reality, nobody should actually expect everybody to do like every single subject every single day, especially during the holiday season. Next year when you do it, beginning of the year, don't put as much on you for November and December. Try to put less on there. And that goes straight back into point number 2. So point number 2 is going to be pick 1 to 2 focus subjects that have to be completed every day. And some of these points kind of go together, but I also kind of wanted to make specific focus for some of these points so that you could see that the main highlight of this video of, like, again, beginning of the year, make sure you don't assign as much work for November, December, and like honestly, you could still start now and be like, hey, I can move this to January, which that's always my focus is in January. Normally we have a lot of ice. Like, we don't get a lot of snow, we get a lot of ice. We get a lot of ice, and then we live in a very mountainous region, so like our roads don't get natural sunlight on them, and then the ice doesn't melt. And then when there's so many back roads in the mountain, they can't salt and scrape everything. So like we get stranded at home a lot. Not stranded, we get to stay at home comfortably in our pajamas in the January month. So like November, December, I will take as much off of the excess as possible, like extra chemistry experiments, or I don't make them write as much literature in or as big of literature reports in November and December. So that was number 1. And then number 2 was pick 1 or 2 focus subjects. Think about in your family what subjects like your kids are going to like just get overwhelmed through the holiday season if they don't get that subject done. If it's one subject, do that one subject. And sorry, my heater's going to kick on and off because it's cooler this morning. Don't do any more than like 2 that just have to be done every day. Focus on 1 to 2. Don't be like, well, they have to do everything every day. Make sure you're focused. Like, I have one that we have to do every day because our state requires it, and I'll get to that in a minute. There's another one that I prefer to do every day. The rest of them, honestly, like I said, we have January to get caught up. And I mean, because the classes are year-round, sorry. And because the classes are year-round, we can kind of do that. The other main goal of this video is like, don't get overwhelmed. You don't have to get overwhelmed with this. A lot of people just, I think, take on way too much at the holidays, and then when you're more stressed at the holidays, you're more likely to get sick at the holidays too, and we don't want that as well. So I feel like more like I'm lecturing this video, and this is a little bit different because again, my mindset's just like, number 3 is check with your state's regulations for homeschooling. So the reason I put this one is it ties in with number 2. It ties in with all of it. All of these points kind of tie together. For us, the reason why I put that is in Tennessee, we looked it up, and we've had counselors tell us this, and multiple people tell us this. In the state of Tennessee, math is the only subject required to be done every single day. That's it. There is no other subject in the state of Tennessee, and there are other states that are the same way. Some states don't even require math every day. But in the state of Tennessee, homeschooling, math is the only subject required every day. So That goes back to number 2. Pick 1 and 2 focus subjects. We have to do math every day. And then the other one I did just because I want to make sure they're still getting like homeschooling, not just like, okay, let's do like one math thing and then, oh, we're done for the rest of the day. And honestly, like the rest of it is, and I'll get to this in a minute as well, they're still doing school. It's just school looks different at the holidays. But like actual classwork stuff, the first one is math. Like we have to do math every day because that's what our state requires. Like I said, that may help you to pick those 1 to 2 focus subjects every day. Start with your state requirement, and maybe I have to use in backwards order, because like you should start with your state requirement, pick those focus subjects, and then don't worry about the rest of it until after the holidays. Or number 4, see what classes you can move to video school or portable. So some suggestions that I wrote down of things that we did. For science, all of our science is mostly video schooling through the 101 series. I have 2 in Chemistry 101, and then my other 2 are in zoology this semester, and then in January they'll change over to ecology. Most of their science has been moved to just video only. We're not doing the hands-on experiments right now, which most of the lab work, when you pick a good video curriculum, which the 101 series is the only one I found that I really, really love, because it's not like overwhelming information and a lot of written work to go with it, and I love the 101 series for that. It has the experiments in it. It has all the information in it. They pack so much in those short videos that it lasts for 2 weeks, all the information that's covered in those. Let's see, the other thing I put on here was for middle school students, do science worksheets. One of mine doing zoology is in middle school, so I went to year-round homeschooling Misty Leask. I printed off the animal science worksheets, and I need to do that. And that's what they are doing for school today. I can't actually hit print, but I could do that. Like I said, that's what she's doing for school right now. Some other things on here is like fun math worksheets that are holiday themed. Coloring Squared and Teaching Squared are my 2 favorite websites for us to use for like fun schooling math. They have ones on there that are like just color by number, which no harm there in my opinion, because I still think that color by number is fine for middle and high school students, just because. But they also have some on there that are division, multiplication, addition, and subtraction. And if you've ever taught older kids, you know that sometimes going back to those fundamentals, you really need to nail those down, and that it does help to sometimes go back to basic fundamentals to kind of reset our brain before we work on the more advanced stuff again. Then number 4 on here is movies as literature for middle and high school. Even if you're not doing the full movies as literature curriculum, think about in the November and December months moving your literature, English, whatever class, if it's not English as a second language, like English, like literature composition in the US. Think about moving those at least for those 2 months to like a movies as literature format, and pick movies that are based on either what you're learning in literature or history or the holidays. And that brings us to point number 5. Find ways to tie the holidays into your school. So again, Christmas literature. Obviously for our kids, one of their favorite is Charles Dickens' A Christmas Carol. Another one that they absolutely love this time of year is The Nutcracker, which also ties in arts and music. What is another one they really love? There's another one they really love. I can't remember. There's another one they really, really love. Tie in those Christmas literature. So American Girl. Like the American Girl has some that, like Isabella, or Isabel. I have an Isabella. Isabel is a Christmas themed one, like the movie is. The whole book series isn't, but the movie is based on The Nutcracker. Just look for those fun things that like your kids want. And also like I know Disney Channel has like focus on Christmas themed ones. There's Mickey, there's Winnie the Pooh, like for younger kids. Look up those things for that. I say younger kids, my kids still love those too. I still love the Mickey and Winnie the Pooh Christmas ones. Christmas themed math and science worksheets, that kind of goes back to the other one. Instead of just doing science worksheets that are just like the African animals one, I'm fixing to print them. That's fun. They love it. It's great, and it's also super easy to do. But like you can also go to Answers in Genesis, and they have like nativity themed science worksheets. And Answers in Genesis is always going to like use science to prove the Bible. And I love that they do that. So like you can go on Answers in Genesis and find tons of things that are like Christmas themed, but also ties back into science. And then for the older kids, they have more articles they can read. I do still kind of proofread some of the articles and answers in Genesis because, yes, I want my kids to know that like certain topics are wrong, but I also feel like sometimes bombarding teenagers with too much information, like that's normally targeted towards adults, can kind of lead to them having anxiety issues. So I kind of still proofread for my older kids, but like I'm fine with them even my older kids reading some of the younger kids articles, because there's stuff that like maybe they'll pick up that some of the younger kids won't, and then they can all have a group discussion on it like when we're driving. The last one on here I put is use table setting, sewing projects, and holiday cooking as electives. So we did something yesterday with the last minute finding out that we're hosting here for Thanksgiving. We were kind of preparing for leaving the house, not really like having extra people here. So instead, what we did yesterday was I gave each of the kids 2 specific jobs to do. One of them was work focused, which counts towards PE credit in my opinion. If you're up and moving around as much as you would in a PE class, lifting things, moving things, walking, running, whatever. One was movement based, like an actual cleaning project. And then number 2, I gave each of them a list thing to do. So I have found with older kids, sometimes, especially ones that are having trouble with like creative writing, giving them a list of things to do. Like one of them I need you to empty the spice cabinet and give me a list of every spice that we have of things that I need to stock up on right before Thanksgiving. Which is something I didn't have to worry about before because we were going to somebody else's house, so I knew I had all the spices that we needed. But now we're making everything here, so now I need all the spices here. So I had her write a list of all of the spices. She put them in alphabetical order. I didn't tell her to do that. She did that on her own. And that's kind of a cool thing to like prompt like creative writing process. And also like they're having to work on spelling and grammar and penmanship. So that was one of them. And then another one was looking up like recipes of anything that we hadn't thought about yet. One was making a list of craft ideas of last minute like home decor stuff that we could do, which also includes like a lot of hands-on activities. And then I love using table settings because guess what? Table settings counts as health class. It also counts as nutrition and food class because you are teaching children how to set a table for nice events. Sewing projects. My kids are in sewing right now. So like little hands-on sewing projects for the DIYs and things. All of that can count towards school. And then also like sometimes people forget this. Cooking is math. You have to know math to be able to cook. Especially since like stovetop, 1 box is like enough for a couple. At Thanksgiving time, you don't just buy 1 box of stovetop. You buy like, for like our the size group we're having here, you buy like 4 boxes of stovetop, which means you now have to quadruple that recipe for how much butter you need, how much water you need. That's math. You're doing fractions. So that's kind of like my 5 things to do. I will go back over them again because I also kind of feel like I've been a little more spaced out brain than I really want to do for this video. So number 1, make sure you're not assigning too much work through November and December. Even if you didn't start at the beginning of the year, start today. Take off some of that extra work. Ask your kids like, if your kids are old enough, ask them like, hey, what is something you just have to have done by December? Our kids no longer have midterms because I've switched to a curriculum that no longer requires that. And homeschooling in Tennessee does not require midterms. Grades are still due, but in our state, grades aren't due until January 15th. So I may or may not turn those in, and I'll do that as a bonus point. If your grades are due before the end of the year, schedule a day that you're not teaching your kids in December. So we usually schedule 2 weeks off at the end of December for Christmas. So like that Monday after, before the kids get up, after they've slept in and they don't have school that day, that's when I would put the grades in. That way I don't forget, okay, did they turn this in? Did they turn that in? And then we're not starting the new year with like, hey, I need you to show me proof that you did this. So that was kind of my bonus point is, schedule, like on your phone, go in and schedule a date on your calendar, on an alarm clock that says, put grades in, and make sure you schedule it for a time that your kids are either not awake or not demanding your attention, or you're not needing to be cooking, cleaning, wrapping presents, whatever. Set that time aside, get those grades in, that way you're not stressed about it over Christmas. Don't assign too much work through November, December. Let them have fun. Pick 1 to 2 focus subjects that have to be completed every day. And again, in Tennessee, one's math, and then for our family, the other one is literature. Now, our kids will also do foreign language, and some people like foreign language has to be done every day. Do foreign language. I will suggest that my kids do it, but because our second one's literature, Not going to push it. Number 3, check your state regulations to see what you absolutely have to do. If they do require us every single subject, every single day, try to just pull some stuff off until the end of the year. Number 4, see which classes can be moved to video school or portable. Make it fun. Make it easy. Make it something where they're still learning, but they're having fun doing it. And number 5, find ways to tie the holidays into your school. And that is it for today's video, you guys. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you to all of our members for supporting this content and allowing us to continue making videos. And thank you to every single one of you for liking, watching, positive comments, and subscribing. It's really helping, especially right now with things with my mother-in-law going on. And it is a huge help to us, and all of your positive comments, especially right now whenever things are kind of just like really crazy right now, have been super encouraging to me, even though none of you knew about what was going on. It's been really encouraging to me to just be able to go like, oh, look at this button, and I show Matt too, and like he loves it. So thank you for the positive comments. Please keep them coming. Please give my mother-in-law in your prayers. Happy Thanksgiving, Merry Christmas, and we'll see you next time.